Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today I want to talk a little bit about the light and winning at the light, what it takes to actually get off on the light quickly, and specifically, really the pro tree is what I want to focus in on a little bit today. The wife and I have been out to the track quite a bit, and as more and more of these tracks go to just simply pro tree, I'm not sure why that is, but a lot of tracks are going to strictly pro tree. You have to get your skills up when it comes to the pro tree. Chances are you're going to get beat. So I want to talk a little bit about how we can improve our performance on the pro tree today. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you slap the subscribe button down here in the corner, and we are off.
We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. God.
So first and foremost, yes, I am a drag racer, but I realize not everybody out there is. So I want to talk a little bit about the differences between really the two trees, right? So when you're at the drag strip and they're running a sportsman's tree, you're going to have two bulbs at the top. Of course, you're going to have the initial staging bulb. You're going to have a secondary staging bulb, or second yellow. And then of course, on a normal sportsman's tree, you'll have three different bulbs that drop. 1, 2, 3, and then you'll have the green, right? So all three of those middle bulbs there are yellow. So you kind of get this real nice countdown on a sportsman's tree to give you an idea of when it's going to turn green and you need to leave. And obviously the key is to leave really on that third yellow, or else somebody next to you is probably going to tree you, and most likely you're going to lose if the cars are evenly matched. On a pro tree, different story, right? You've got the two staging bulbs, nothing different there. You've got stage 1, stage 2, and then all three bulbs drop at the exact same time. And it happens very, very quickly, and then it's green. So it's almost like an instant green type thing, guys. I mean, the millisecond you see any sort of a flash, you have to be on your way out the door, or chances are the person next to you is going to beat you, because if they had any practice at the pro tree, they're probably long gone. So we'll talk a little bit today about maybe some ways you can improve your reaction time for the pro tree. And also, I know Mrs. X is pretty upset because we went out to the track the last couple of times, and of course, yes, they were running pro tree instead of the sportsman's tree, and she's pretty good at the sportsman's tree, not a lot of practice on pro tree. And unfortunately, even though she had a slightly faster car, at least in the 8th mile, unfortunately she lost because she lost at the tree. So how can we avoid that and make sure she actually gets the upper hand? Let's talk about some of the ways we can do that. I want to talk about really 3 different ways. I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can actually improve your reaction time and get better at the pro tree. And the first one here, I think, is actually pretty darn cool. It's actually an app on my phone. And I know what you're thinking. How in the world can an app help me get better at my reaction time, when I go to the track? But it really does, because guys, here's the thing. When it comes to reaction time, it's all between the ears. A lot of it is. And a lot of it is just getting a cadence in your brain. And it is proven. A lot of pro drag racers, they have little bitty tools that they use that just helps them get, used to the timing of things. And it's so important. So actually right here on my phone, I have downloaded an app called JAG's Perfect Start. That is what it looks like. And you know what? This thing cost me all of 99 cents, I think. And it has been so valuable to me. And basically, you can set this thing up to where you can do pro tree, full tree. And really what it is you can just repeat this. And a lot of times when I go to the track, before I even make my first run, I will open this thing up and I'll actually use it. And I'll go through and literally I'll do like 100 little starts just really quick to get in my mind that little cadence of boom, 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 go, boom, 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 go. You know what I mean? And it's just it's a practice thing, guys. But it really does make a difference. I actually kind of want to show you how this thing works because it is pretty darn cool. So as you can see, here is the JAG's Perfect Start app, and you've got both Pro Tree and Full Tree that you can select here. I think it's most valuable for the Pro Tree. And but before you do that, I want to show you a little tip here that really helps. I realize there's a little bit of glare on the screen here, guys. But if you go to your settings area, you want to make sure that most tracks run a 0.4 Pro Tree, which you can see right here. I've already set that little thing to a 0.4. So go in before you do anything and set that thing to 0.4, and then go back down actually, and you can choose your tree. And then if you go to Pro Tree, which is right there, you can see it just gives you a little tree, which is pretty darn cool. All you have to do is hold down the JAGS button right there and then let off when you are supposed to, and it tells you your exact reaction time. It is really, really cool. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you guys, and the idea is really to get this thing in the 0.0 whatever, and you'll realize this is really hard to do, guys. So practice this. You can literally sit in the staging lanes and practice this hundreds of times. It's really, really easy. Watch. As soon as the flash hits, I let go, right? So watch again. See, my reaction time is actually terrible here, guys. So I'm actually going to try and focus this time and see what the best time I can get is. So hold it down. We'll hold it. We'll wait for all 3 flashes. But as soon as you see the flash, you have to let it go. There we go. 0.13, not too bad. Really, anything in the 0.1s, guys, is not shabby. But ideally, you want to get something 0.0 whatever. And if you can do that consistently, it will help you. But you just have to really wait for the flash. So here you go. Boom, 0.3 is terrible. 0.18. And it's a game, guys. Just play it until you can get this thing down into the O's. There you go, 0.10. And like I said, I mean, you can even have competitions. My wife and I, we practice this, and it is definitely something that will help you get that cadence in your head and help you on the pro tree, guys. Try it out. I'm serious about this. It does work. So when you're talking about cars as fast as something like this, or faster, I mean, 1/10 of a second can be an eternity in drag racing, which seems crazy because that's about how fast you can blink your eye. But the truth is, 1/10 in drag racing can be at least a car or more, and that's a gap. So you have to really, really focus on the light. It is so critical. It's kind of like putting in golf, right? It is. It's just one of the most critical things that you can do in drag racing is being good on the light. It has decided so many races, and oftentimes, if you're not good at the light, it can be an obstacle that is just impossible to overcome. So as many of you have seen in one of my recent videos, I raced a really, really fast Porsche 911 Turbo S. It was tuned. It had incredible top end on it, and I beat him by 0.002 seconds. So 2/1000ths of a second. Even though his car ran about 1/10 faster than mine, I actually beat him on the tree, and he cut a good light. He cut a 0.24, but I actually cut a 0.13 on a 0.4 pro tree. And here we go. Haven't checked out that video, go check it out. But it just shows you how important the light is in drag racing and why we need to focus on it and practice it all the time. So the next thing I want to show you is a little technique, and you can actually literally practice this on your just normal daily drive. It is pretty cool. So the next thing is stoplight starts. It doesn't matter if it's day, doesn't matter if it's night, whatever. If you can find yourself a little stoplight somewhere, preferably one that's not in a bunch of traffic, 3 lanes wide or whatever, you can actually practice this. Now, I'm not telling you to go do burnouts all throughout your city and go across like a wild man or whatever. Just be smart about it, guys. But a lot of times when you're stopped at a stoplight, you can look up and you can see when the other lights are going to turn red, which means probably your light is going to turn green. Like I said, do use caution when you're doing this, but you can actually work on when that light turns green on going. That doesn't mean you have, like I said, you don't have to do a huge burnout through the intersection or anything like that, but you can actually bring up a little bit of RPM on the car, and then you can actually focus on exactly when that light turns green. It's kind of like getting that little flash of yellow in a pro tree, and the faster you can react to that flash, the better off you're going to be on a pro tree. So I'm going to go find a little stoplight somewhere away from traffic where I can actually do this kind of without bothering anybody or getting anybody's way or whatever. And like I said, I'll demonstrate it for you. just wait for the flash and you're off. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean you have to go crazy. You're literally working on your reaction time. So it doesn't mean you have to blow through the intersection like a wild person. But literally, if you can just get that initial, just boom, like down, as soon as the light turns green, it is a really good way to kind of practice on that pro tree. I do also want to mention that there's no shortage of morons that will pull out in front of you or run a red light. So just be aware of your surroundings. Sometimes this stuff does work a little better at night just because there's fewer people out. So I want to move on to kind of my last and third technique to show you. So the third technique is actually the light technique, which I think is actually really effective. It does work best at night, guys. So I went ahead and I came in my garage to film this part because it's a little darker in here, so I can illustrate this a little bit better. But if you can go find yourself a really dark street somewhere, or heck, just a big parking lot somewhere at nighttime, you can literally sit and practice this. You can, you practice bumping in, and you can actually practice leaving. You do need a partner for this to actually do the flashlight work for you. But this is literally just a cheap little 3-stage light that I picked up, I think at the hardware store for like $5. And I use it at the track all the time to help me get the car back together after we've raced. But it actually works really well. And let me kind of show you what you do. So basically when you're out, you have the car completely ready to go. You have somebody standing outside of the car with this little flashlight, right? Hopefully not directly in front. Don't have them be in the way. So at any rate, the very first light basically is the light to come on in and stage. So, as they pull forward, they pull forward, they pull forward, you click, meaning boom. Now all of a sudden you've got the first bulb lit, right? And now you're basically giving it some RPM, or you're ready to stage the second bulb. So as soon as they continue to pull forward, second light is a little bit brighter. This light is brighter, it's easier to see. And then as soon as you're basically ready to go, you've lit that second bulb. Fairly quickly, you'll want to turn the light off. And as soon as the light turns off, boom, you are gone. So all the person is looking for is the light after the second stage to turn off. So one more time, you're pulling in, you're pulling in, you're pulling in. All of a sudden, boom, you stop. First bulb is lit. You bump in, bump in, bump in. Second bulb is lit. As soon as it comes off, boom, you're gone. It's just a cool way to practice it. Like I said, you do need a partner, kind of show them what to do. But literally, you can go out and practice that 10 or 20 times, hopefully in a place that's not going to disturb a lot of people if you have a loud car. But it is a really cool way to practice. And this is actually really effective. Definitely something to think about. The last thing that I actually want to show you guys is my launch technique for the pro tree. It's a little bit different than it is on a sportsman's tree. That's why sometimes, every once in a while, you'll see me at the track and I will get caught completely off guard because I'll think they're going to actually drop a sportsman's tree on me, which is what I'll have on the side of the car. And they'll just decide to drop a pro tree instead, which means that basically I'm leaving under no RPM. This car likes to leave under a little bit of RPM. Really about 1800 is kind of the sweet spot where I don't push through the brakes and the brakes are holding, but that's about as much as I can get before the car starts to push through the brakes, and then I can launch the car nice and firm, and I've already got my foot on the gas. Everything seems to work really well that way. Whereas like on a sportsman's tree, a lot of times I'll bump in, I'll go ahead and second stage, and then I will bring my RPMs up. On a pro tree, you've got to bring your RPMs up before you light the second bulb. It's very important because half the time, if you pull up without lighting the second bulb, they're going to drop the tree on you immediately, and you're going to leave under no RPM, and you're just simply not going to be ready. So I want to show you what my launch technique is, and hopefully it makes sense to you guys. Okay guys, so the car is in drive. I've already got my drive mode selected, and as you can see, this is just my normal street mode. This is how you can practice here, guys. But like I said, you can literally practice this in a parking lot somewhere where there's nobody to kind of get in your way. Like I said, don't cause a huge disruption, but basically what I'm gonna do now, the car's already in drive. We're gonna go ahead and pull, we're gonna pull up just like I'm staging, right? So we'll just kind of pull up really nice and slow, and it'll be just basically simulating like you're gonna light the first bulb. So boom, we lit the first bulb. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put my foot on the brake. Hopefully you guys can see that. Move my foot to the brake down there. And then I'm gonna put my foot on the gas, and we're gonna give it some RPM. Okay, about 1500 is what I'm gonna do. And now I'm gonna gently let up on my left foot, and I'm gonna bump the car. It's bumping, it's bumping, it's bumping until I've lit the second bulb. I've already got 1500 RPM and I'm off. So that's the practice, that's the technique, guys. So let me show it to you one last time. Okay, car is in drive. We're gonna go up, Once again, we're gonna light the first ball, boom, come to a complete stop. Down here, foot hard on the brake, switch our other foot over to the gas, give it some RPM, about 1500. Left foot, let up a little bit, bump, bump, bump. Second bulb is lit, and we're already at RPM. We can bring it up a little bit, and we're off. As soon as it turns, as soon as we see that flash, guys, we are out of there. So that is a really cool little technique that you can practice in any open space with your car. And it does take some getting used to, but once you're used to it, it really, really helps you get off on the tree. Well, that's it. So I've given you 3 different techniques that you can use to get better at the Pro Tree. Hopefully you guys will find that helpful. In addition, I also showed you kind of my launch technique for the Pro Tree, where you just kind of, you go up, you first stage, you bump in under a little bit of RPM by just letting your foot off the brake ever so slightly and bumping it. It does take a little bit of practice, guys, but it's easy to practice. You can literally just go take 15 minutes, go find you an empty parking lot somewhere and work on that technique. And as soon, obviously, as you see any sort of flash on the yellow, all you do is let your foot off the brake and slam on the gas, and you are out of there. So guys, I really do feel like maybe this will help some of you guys out there. I know, as I mentioned before, it is the difference between winning and losing more often than not. And I want to see all you guys out there start winning all your races at the track. Like I said, I still have to practice it. I am by no means the end-all be-all when it comes to Pro Tree, but this is what I do, and I hopefully can spread a little bit of knowledge to you guys on how to help you. And my wife will be practicing this as well, so she is definitely going to be slaying some people here the next time we go out to the track. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. Until next time, Racer X.